Hello, we're back and we're going to continue our discussion about coding mental health disorders. With multiple coding, you'll see a lot of instructional notes to code first, code also. Here's an example. F54 psychological and behavioral factors associated with disorders and diseases classified elsewhere. Code first the physical conditions such as the asthma, dermatitis, what have you. The key here is to read the tabular. Oops, sorry. And again, more instructional notes, additional code with F84, pervasive developmental disorders, another example. And inclusion and exclusion notes. Inclusion notes say, for instance, that ecstasy, PCP, and phencyclidine are included in hallucinogenic disorders as the drugs are hallucinogenics, right? So F16. So really a lot of very critical information to read in the tabular here regarding these things. Another one would be the F44 dissociative and conversion disorders. Tells you exactly what conditions are included. And of course, it wouldn't be right if we didn't have exclusion notes. Excludes one advises us that codes for alcohol dependence and use cannot be used with alcohol abuse. That seems pretty straightforward. Again, excludes one, meaning it's mutually exclusive. They can't be both. There is an R excludes two notes. For instance, code for cocaine related disorders from F14 code categories can be used with codes from other stimulant disorders. So, in other words, somebody could have two different stimulant disorders. If the documentation is for that, you can include them. And last one I'm going to cover before we dive into the world of alcohol related disorders is blood alcohol level. Blood alcohol levels go from code category Y90, evidence of blood of alcohol involvement, excuse me, determined by blood alcohol level. This may be signed when the information is documented and the patient's provider has documented condition classifiable to category F10, alcohol-related disorders. The blood alcohol level does not need to be documented by the patient's provider in order to be coded. And that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you online. Bye now.